some concerns that there could be another big tropical storm building up off the coast of Mozambique. You may remember the destruction caused by Hurricane Idai several years ago, the damage it did when it made landfall in Mozambique. At the same time, there's some scientists who say the big storms that we see could be given more power because of global warming. Nancy Kordouli is a coordinator for programs and operations in BIREP, Mozambique, in the International Federation of the Red Cross. Nancy, good afternoon to you. How worried are you about this gathering storm system?
Good afternoon, Stephen. Thank you for having me in your newsfeed. Yes, we are worried. We are worried. It is a confirmed tropical storm, a severe tropical storm, as per the Institute of Meteorological Information here in the country. It made landfall this morning at 10 o'clock in a province called Nampula, and it will affect up to 4 or 5 provinces in the country. There could be more than 16 million people that could be affected. And exactly as you've mentioned, is a country that has a range of different floods and cyclones that are being affected year on year, a lot of cumulative impact on some very poor communities. So we are quite concerned, and we're watching very carefully what is happening in the country, yes.
You say it's making landfall already. Is there any way of knowing how strong it is at this stage?
So according to the information that we have the Mozambique Red Cross colleagues that have been on the ground from before. We also joining them, and we have joined them from yesterday, and we'll support them with more people. To the best of our knowledge right now, because we're still well within the epicenter and what is happening, we expect that the landfall will have made in winds of strength of 100 to 130 kilometers an hour, and the rains continue falling up to 2 meters rainfall every 24 hours. So this is what we're expecting. It started from last night, and we expect that this is what happened during the epicenter as well.
2 meters of rainfall, 2,000 millimeters of rain. That's an incredible amount of rain. I mean, that's going to cause a huge amount of damage. That's proper flooding.
Sorry, 200 millimeters in the 24 hours. 200 millimeters in the 24 hours. That means that quite a few rivers have actually reached alert levels. There's quite a few rivers that are being monitored with alert levels. One alert was already reached in the river called Likungo in Zambezia, and we expect that there will be quite a few rivers that will do the same. Likungo River reached the 2 meters above the alert level.
And the
within that country.
My apologies. And the government, I mean, has the government been able to prepare in any way for this? You had some warning, the government's had some warning, the government's got many things it needs to deal with at the moment in Mozambique.
Yes, there is preparedness that is taking place. Also partners, a lot of partners are supporting as much as possible. Obviously, the needs are vast. There is announcement of needs, and of course we will know as the impact is made specifically what the needs in specific locations. So there is good coordination. As we know more about the needs and gaps, then obviously things will be better. There are gaps in the country. We are talking about some very, very poor communities. So gaps remain, and as I said, there is a lot of cumulative impact about what has happened in the last few years as well, from rains and floods.
The damage caused by the last storm was so big, I would imagine some communities just haven't been able to recover from that yet, never mind prepare for this storm.
Yes, it's exactly what you say, Stephen. It happens frequently, it happens every year. This tropical storm is not a cyclone. It was a cyclone of a strength of 4, so the difference is quite large in terms of the wind and the impact, but still the impact is very large here. People have expect that they will have to live with this year on year. We want to break this behavior. We want to help people to have more resilient solutions and not have to be impacted every year in a more cumulative way. Yes, so we really hope that if people get impacted every year, they get weaker and weaker, and it doesn't matter that it's not a cyclone for this time. This tropical storm can make quite a lot of damage to infrastructure, and some people could lose their homes because they're very, very temporary homes. So we really hope that we can support with more resilient activities as well, not only just response.
It also makes it impossible to farm. I mean, this will damage crops. It will make it harder for people to actually produce food to feed themselves.
Exactly. I mean, the rainy season will definitely put a halt to their farming season, and then we'll have to see what damage is there and take it from there and see how we can support these communities to come back.
What kind of help are people able to offer at this stage? I imagine donations, other governments may need to get involved as well to help Mozambique.
Financial support to coordinated activities are always the best way that someone can support. We would really greatly accept support through our disaster response emergency fund that we have already published. Through this funding, there will be items, there will be food items, there will be non-food items that will be procured and will be distributed to these communities. So really, funding support is the best way to make sure that we do have coordinated activities on the ground with all partners.
Mozambique also has other challenges. It's got the insurgency, as it's called, in Cabo Delgado, where we've had literally armed conflict there. This means that it's very difficult for the Mozambique state. I mean, thousands of people have been displaced as a result of that. I imagine that's testing resources on the one side of Mozambique, up in the north, and now you've got this to deal with as well.
Yes, it's exactly like you say, Stephen. And also the northern region is also impacted, and we're talking security issues there and a lot of displacements. Also the neighboring communities and the neighboring provinces that are also affected by this tropical storm will also have hosted quite a lot of these displaced people. So it's not just the families that are based in these provinces, but also many, many displaced people. So yes, it is this cumulative impact that we're describing is also because of that security issue that you're mentioning, yes.
Nancy, I really appreciate the time. Thank you. Nancy Kordouli is the coordinator for programs and operations in Beira in Mozambique for the International Federation of the Red Cross. Some concerns there, of course, about what is going to happen as a result.